Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. He'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's Mark
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV with myself, Ashley James, for live coverage of this evening's game as the Bluebirds travel north to South Yorkshire to do battle in this midweek clash with Huddersfield Town, and a Huddersfield Town who represent just about the most informed team in, if not the country, certainly the Championship at the moment. 16, the magic number to keep an eye on this evening. Huddersfield looking to make it 16 games unbeaten for themselves in Championship play, and off the back, of course, of that really hard-fought but fine performance at the weekend, toppling leaders Fulham at Craven Cottage by 2-1. Cardiff on a decent run of form themselves, certainly not 16 games unbeaten, but would make it 16 games unbeaten against Huddersfield Town if we were able to avoid defeat this evening. That stretches all the way back to 2003, the last defeat against the Terriers. Andy Booth, if you remember him, was on the score sheet that occasion, which dates that particular statistic. It would match a club record if we were able to avoid defeat this evening, that previously held by two other Yorkshire teams, in fact. Halifax Town, way back when, in the which ended in the 1970s, and also that astonishing run we had up against our old rivals Leeds United, which came to an end back in 2015. So Huddersfield looking for a 16th consecutive unbeaten game this season. The Bluebirds looking for a 16th consecutive unbeaten game against Huddersfield. All to play for then this evening, and you'd have to say that I was about to say, you'd have to say that one of those records looks like falling by the wayside, but of course a draw would elongate both of them. Cardiff then, ahead of kick-off, make no changes from the starting lineup. It's the same 11 that started at the weekend against Blackpool, but that man there, Joe Rolls, is back in the matchday squad, so changes on the bench then. So the Cardiff team in full. Former Huddersfield man Alex Smithies starts in goal. It's a back five again with the informed Joel Bagan, 3 goals in 3 games for him coming into this evening. Starts at left wing back, despite the fact that Alfie Doughty is fit for the bench once again. Cody Drammer returns to Yorkshire, the Leeds United on loan man, to play at right wing back, and there's that stable now 3 of centre halves in Perry and G. Aidan Flint, of course, deputising for club captain Sean Morrison, and Mark McGuinness in the back line. Rolls only fit for the bench, so Tommy Doyle, Ryan Wintle and Will Volks represent your midfield 3, and Batman Isaac Davis starts up top alongside Jordan Hugill. We're going to hear from Jordan Hugill in a little bit, and he's got plenty of praise for his young strike partner Isaac Davis in that clip, full of effusive praise for the youngsters at the football club, and also for yourselves, the Cardiff City fans, from what he's experienced so far in his short time with the football club. The bench then for Cardiff this evening: Dylan Phillips, your goalkeeping option. Joe Rolls, primed to make Cardiff City appearance number 300. It's something we've been sat on for a couple of weeks, waiting for him to make that appearance. He didn't come off the bench against Coventry a week ago. Wasn't in the matchday squad because of a little knock at the weekend, so we're going to go with that again. Cardiff City appearance 300 looming for Joe Rolls. That would make him only the 20th man ever to achieve that feat. Uche Ekpiezu also on the bench, the returning Alfie Doughty. Great to see him back ahead of schedule from that ankle problem sustained on Cardiff's last win in Yorkshire against Barnsley. Mark Harris on the bench as well. He's prepared to make professional appearance number 100 if he is able to come off the bench this evening. Not, of course, all in a Cardiff shirt, but from that time away he spent with Wrexham and Newport as well. And youngsters Eli King and Ollie Denham also amongst the substitutes. For Huddersfield Town, you can see some warm-up shots there of Huddersfield. They've welcomed back a couple of players also, namely to the bench. That young man there, Levi Colwell's been missing for a number of months now. He's fit again, but only for the bench this evening, the Chelsea loanee. I don't think there's a change of shape. We're not quite sure. They're a flexible old outfit, Huddersfield, at the moment, certainly under the tutelage of Carlos Corberán, so they have options. I think it's going to be a 4-4-2. They played a 4-4-2 away at Fulham at the weekend. It served them well with that 2-1 win. We think he's going to stick with that shape, but he has made 2 changes to the starting 11, namely at left back, where Josh Ruffels, a former Oxford man, comes in for just his second league start of the season, replacing Harry Toffolo, who drops to the bench. And Daniel Sinani scored here at Cardiff City Stadium earlier in the season, the opener, in a 2-1 win for the Bluebirds. He returns to the starting lineup, and I think he's going to play as the support striker alongside the in-form Danny Ward. So your Huddersfield team in full then to go up against the Bluebirds. Lee Nichols in goals, who's been in startling form since joining MK Dons back in the summer. Ollie Turton, former Blackpool right back, on one full-back. Josh Ruffels, as I mentioned, former Oxford man, on the left. It's a centre-half partnership of Matty Pearson and Tom Lee's incredible experience with those two. Jonathan Hogg drops to the bench, incidentally, so it's Johnny Russell and Lewis O'Brien. O'Brien wears the captain's armband as well this evening, in the middle of the park. Welshman Sorba Thomas on the right-hand side, we think. I think it's going to be Dwayne Holmes on the left-hand side. He's in a rich vein of form himself and scored from the penalty spot at Craven Cottage on the weekend. So if the shape remains, then Dwayne Holmes will play off the left-hand side. Former Derby man, and Sinani and the informed Danny Ward up top. Yes, that Danny Ward, 13 goals in 69 appearances, as I tried to look at my own small font. 69 appearances in a Bluebird shirt for Danny Ward in his time with his club. He's got 11 goals already this season. That includes 7 in his last 11 championship games. Already assured of the best scoring season of his career for 31-year-old Danny Ward. He's having a fine old time of it, and it's great to see because he's a lovely man. Just hope he can't find a way past his old mucker Alex Smithies this evening, as he nearly did, didn't he, in the reverse fixture here earlier in the season. Struck the post with Huddersfield on top, a goal up on top. Cardiff came back to win 2-1 on that evening, and that is an evening that certainly Steve Morrison points to as being a turning point in not only Cardiff's season, but a large part of the reason that he is now employed as Cardiff City manager, certainly at least until the end of the season. That dramatic turnaround he points to as a huge reason for that, and he had that to say and a little bit extra as we caught up with him ahead of tonight's game.
Yeah, they've been excellent. They were a big part of me staying on in the job. That was a good day. So yeah, let's hopefully we can go up there and spoil their run. I think it's 17 games unbeaten. As I say, all good things have to come to an end. So hopefully we can be the team that do that. Yeah, it's a game we're really looking forward to. Look, we're going to be up and down in our performance. So I think you can see that in the performance at Blackpool. It was up and down within the 90 minutes. We're trying to find that level of consistency, which I think we've managed, especially over the last 6 games. Even when we had a bit of a down day at Millwall, we still wasn't blown out of the water, and we still was well in the game, and we had our moments where we could have taken the lead. So yeah, look, well, they're learning all the time, and it's really good. It's really fun to be a part of. We've still got to win a few more games to get us to a place where we can really try and add some facets to our game. But obviously, yeah, it's more of a consistency of attitude and application across the board, and if we can do that, then we'll be all right. You have to pick a team that best suits your needs, I suppose, and we're 19th, but closer to the playoffs than we are the bottom, and that's great. But obviously, you want to get away from the bottom, and you want to. I think it's more for the younger players. I think you can look at a Joel, playing these games with. It feels like he's got a little bit more pressure off of him. He's kind of expressed himself a bit more, and don't get me wrong, the basics of the game we have to always do really well, otherwise we'll get beat. But yeah, there might be stuff that we can experiment with and try and look towards for next season and stuff like that. But until we get to those games, and we just have to keep worrying about what we're doing now. And yeah, I think there's definitely an evolvement. The complete evolvement will be in the off season. but it's be interesting to try and be a little bit different at times if the games allow us to. So yeah, we'll see, but we're not worrying about it overly too much at the minute. It's something that definitely we're always forward planning, we're always thinking about what's next. But until we get to that position where we can actually do that freely, then we won't be tinkering with it just yet. I feel like I've ticked a lot of boxes, and there's a lot of questions asked on me and a lot of doubters, and I've just tried to do the best job I can. And obviously everyone else is going to be the judge of that. I'm really proud of what I've done and what the staff have done. And from our point of view, no secret of it, I hope that we can be part of what's going on going forward, and I'd like to have another transfer window, a pre-season, and a real chance to embed a culture and an atmosphere and a real philosophy and style around what we do. But I said that's not something I can worry about just yet. Obviously, the next thing to worry about is Huddersfield.
Welcome back, Steve Morrison there, talking ahead of this evening's game between the Bluebirds and the Terriers. Huddersfield Town, Cardiff's host this evening, and as I've already mentioned, about as in form a team as you're going to find in the country at the moment. 15 games unbeaten in the Championship has put them right amongst the playoff places, really in the promotion hunt, in fact. Going into this midweek, and a large part of that is because they really put the cat amongst the pigeons with that 2-1 win at Craven Cottage at the weekend. Goals from Danny Ward and Dwayne Holmes on the afternoon kept Alexander Mitrovic at bay as well, which is no mean feat, and it's really clicked this season for young Carlos Corberan, the 38-year-old manager in charge of Huddersfield, former Marcelo Bielsa tutor. Worked with him at Leeds. He's had a really fine tutelage as a manager. In fact, worked for Fabio Cannavaro in the Middle East as well as an assistant manager. He's really earned his grounding, and he had a hard going in the opening few months, certainly at Huddersfield Town, but some shrewd recruitment this summer, this off-season, and the players seemingly really bought into his ideas and his way of playing. And it's been a really dramatic turnaround at the John Smith Stadium at Cardiff visit this evening. Been a decent hunting ground for Cardiff, in fact, over the years. We've alluded to already the fact that Cardiff come into this game 15 games unbeaten against Huddersfield. It stretches back to the last defeat was in 2003 with that game I referenced with Andy Booth on the score sheet, but actually dates back to 2011, August 2011 in fact, and a 5-3 victory here at Cardiff City Stadium, which you might remember because it was the third round of the League Cup when, of course, Cardiff ended up going all the way to the final. Gabo Shapesh, John Parkin, 2 from Don Cowie and Craig Conway on the score sheet that evening in a 5-3 win in extra time for the Bluebirds. Incidentally, on the score sheet that evening for Huddersfield Town were both Jordan Rhodes and Danny Ward, both of whom are, of course, in the Huddersfield Town squad this evening ahead of this game. There we are, there's your league table. Huddersfield currently sat in 5th place, just 5 points off the automatic spots. They've got a 3-point cushion over Sheffield United, who are chasing them down hard in 7th place. Cardiff now, incidentally, despite the fact we still sat 19th in the table, closer to the top 6 than we are to the bottom 3, which is quite a remarkable turnaround to where we found ourselves, certainly after the Bristol City game just a few short weeks ago, and a huge amount of credit has to go to manager Steve Morrison and his coaching staff for that turnaround, and the players who have completely bought into this project. Cardiff then, recent record at the John Smith Stadium. A couple of goalless draws thrown in there. A rather uneventful one you might remember in the Premier League year. Sean Morrison missed in a good headed chance, and 0-0 draw on our last visit last season as well. Let's hope this evening isn't like that. That was a pretty dire, forgetful evening on Friday night with Joel Bagan sustaining an injury, but also smattered in amongst that were 2 comfortable 3-0 victories for the Bluebirds, and it is a scene where Cardiff, or a ground where Cardiff have scored goals in the past. You might remember a brace from Peter Whittingham a few years ago, and also a pair of goals from Joe Bennett on a last day of the season game a couple of years ago as well. We are gearing up then for kick-off. Unable to bring you my colleague John Donovan this evening. North M42 traffic, I think that's the right motorway, M42 traffic, got the better of him this evening as he's tried to make his way across from North Wales to Huddersfield, where he has other work commitments. So it's just myself on commentary as well for live coverage of the Bluebirds' visit to the John Smith Stadium in Huddersfield, and we will have live coverage at the other side of this interview with Jordan Hugill, who's really ingratiated himself nicely with the Cardiff fans. A couple of early goals in your career will do that for you, but it's his unwavering work rate as well that's really settled him down nicely and put him front and centre in the attention and the hearts of the Cardiff fans at the moment. This is what he had to say ahead of this evening's game, particularly talking about the Cardiff fans.
Jordan, it was a tough battle against Blackpool on the weekend, but we came away with a deserved point on the balance of play.
Yeah, definitely. I think you look at the way the first half panned out, I think we deserve to be behind. I don't think we started very well at all, but I think it just shows the character now and how far we've come since January to claw back a result. And I think it was a great work from the lads second half. I think we upped our standards, and I think it showed in the second half.
And you started a few games up front alongside Isaac Davis, especially at home in the last few weeks. What do you like about playing with him, and what have the two of you spoken about regarding your kind of partnership?
I'll be honest, we haven't really spoke about much. It's kind of just we've been on the pitch together and it's worked. I think when you have two different types of strikers but who play, I think you look over the course of history and it has worked. And it's been no different here, that when you have two different strikers, that it does work. I think Isaac's been brilliant, and you just look at the managers rewarding him with confidence of him playing every week. So it's something that I'm sure he'll be enjoying, but I'm enjoying too.
So Huddersfield up next on Wednesday night, another tough game against an opponent in good form. What have you made of them so far this season, and what are you expecting up there?
Yeah, they've been brilliant. I played them once before this season, and they were really good. So they'll be riding high off the confidence of the win at the weekend against Fulham. But as I said, so we're also riding high about the results we've had at the moment. So it'll be a good game of two informed teams. So I'm looking forward to it.
And it's set to be a big crowd up there in Huddersfield. Plenty of travelling Cardiff City fans. How important has their support been, both at home and away, since you joined the club?
The way they've taken me in as players, and I can't be happier for the club. I mean, it's brilliant when you're hearing them when we're winning and we're doing well. So it's as I said, I can't wait to see them all on tomorrow night, and we'll see how it goes.
And obviously, you've scored a few already in your Cardiff City career, as we said. What are your aims for the next few weeks and months, both personally and for the team as well?
Personally, my aims are to carry on playing well. I mean, for me, I've always said throughout my career that goals aren't important for me as a player. Obviously, it's nice to get them, but it's not my main focus. It's more about my performance, and then to get my when my performance is right, the goals come. And as a team, we want to get further away from the bottom three. That's what we've been working on. That's what we've been doing. So I said there's a nice gap now, and hopefully we can keep cementing our place and move up the league.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
It's back again. Feels a highlight
Oh, Glatzel as well. Oh, that is superb.
Great play, real good football, good composure all the way through. To find the pass on the edge of the box was excellent. No more than Cardiff deserved. Great credit, good for the composure and discipline out of possession, and when chances have come their way, they capitalised.
free. Peter Whittingham with his second of the afternoon, and it is a textbook postage stamp free kick.
Absolutely vintage Peter Whittingham. He has rifled that. It's an unstoppable shot. Lovely turn, and as Murphy kept himself onside, he has an opportunity, and he's taken it. Beats the offside grab, lifts the ball beyond Lurzel, and Cardiff have the lead against the run of play.
Fabio to his goalkeeper Marshall, who plays it out straight away to Freyford on this near side. He comes forward towards the halfway line. He's got Darley outside it. Darley coming across to the right now. Turns, plays it forward to Freyford. Just waits and sits it in field to little Darley. He plays that forward. Nicely laid off by Bergstahler to Adeyemi. Forward to Whittingham. He's going to try the shot. Oh, what a goal from Whittingham! From 35 yards, Cardiff City won. Huddersfield Town 0, Peter Whittingham.
What a strike from Peter Whittingham. Huddersfield's resolve finally broken, and it takes a touch of Peter Whittingham magic to do so. Unbelievable strike. Just picks the ball up 10 yards, 15 yards outside the Huddersfield box. Takes one look up. He has a shooting lane in front of him and just drives the ball low, dipping effort beyond the outstretched left arm of Alex Smithies, and it settles in the bottom of the Huddersfield net.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Coleman, he'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And he's not within it!
Good evening, welcome to a rain-swept Huddersfield Town this evening, the John Smith Stadium. The venue as the Bluebirds visit South Yorkshire for a midweek clash with just about the most informed team in this entire division, if not the Football League. Huddersfield Town 15 championship games unbeaten, heading into kick-off this evening. Sat 5th in the table and looking to cement that place in the top 6, if not put further pressure on the two teams ahead of them in the automatic places, one of which they vanquished at the weekend. A fantastic 2-1 win at Craven Cottage for Carlos Corberan's men, and he makes 2 changes ahead of kick-off this evening from that winning team. That time of the year, ruthless fixture list at the moment, midweek, weekend fixtures back-to-back. Seemingly necessity to make changes despite picking up all 3 points in such stunning circumstances. For the Bluebirds, Steve Morris has taken a different approach. Cardiff are unchanged from the team that drew 1-1 with Blackpool with a much improved second half performance. You can see 2 teams emerging together, which is notable in its own right, seemingly bringing an end to the FA's COVID protocols. Cardiff in their change strip this evening, pink, white, white combinations. Sorba Thomas, Welsh international, leading out Huddersfield Town. Lewis O'Brien wearing the captain's armband this evening, and that's because, as you can see there, Jonathan Hogg, the usual captain, has dropped to the bench. So they've gone with a back 3 according to that graphic. It could be pretty fluid, though it remains to be seen how, in fact, they line up. I would not expect certainly Daniel Sinani to be playing as the right wing back. If it's going to be a back 3, it'll be Sorba Thomas as the wing back, with Holmes, Sinani and Ward as the 3 up top. Potentially Holmes dropping into a midfield role, leaving Sinani and Ward as a 2. It might even be a back 4 as they deployed at Craven Cottage at the weekend. For Cardiff, it's an unchanged starting 11 from that draw with Blackburn. So it means Isaac Davis and Jordan Hugill paired together in the attack, and it means that Joe Rawls back in the matchday squad is only fit enough for a spot on the bench, so he still awaits his 300th game in a Cardiff shirt. Will Vaughan starts alongside Ryan Wintle, and Manchester City loanee Tommy Doyle instead as the midfield trio. Cody Grammer returns to Yorkshire for the evening. The on loan Leeds United man starts at right wing back with the informed Joel Bagan and his 3 goals in the last 3 games lining up on the left. And there's the 2 young managers, both 38 years of age, Carlos Corberán and Steve Morrison. And Cardiff set to get us underway. 15 games themselves unbeaten, the Bluebirds. That's against Huddersfield Town, dating back to all the way back to August 2011. If you want to be cheeky, it dates all the way back to 2003, in fact, and an Andy Booth goal to nil would beat the Bluebirds. But Cardiff are unbeaten in their last 15 against this team. Huddersfield unbeaten in their last 15 games period heading into this evening. It's going to be Tommy Doyle to get us underway. Miserable conditions as it was. You might remember Cardiff's last visit here, 0-0 draw on a Friday night last season, brought to an end a good run of form, or a good run of wins for Cardiff. Then, under the stewardship of the newly arrived Mick McCarthy, again, I'd say best remembered. There wasn't much memorable about it at all. Probably most remembered for Joel Bagan finally being given a chance at left back and back into the team, of course, replacing the injured Joe Bennett, and then injuring his own shoulder early in that game. Bagan returns here this evening.